Okay, we have 4 cards here in a little bit less than 8 minutes, a little bit less painful than watching the 2.5-hour live version of this or replay version of this. But I'm going to give you some different ideas on how to use the winter ash trees, both the large and small. Here we're stamping it over a photograph, doing some photo stamping they call this. I'm just using some regular dye-based inks. But we're going to do a little bit of a twist and add it into a reflection card format. So I'm stamping the ash trees down below, 3 different impressions using a StazOn ink on the silver foil, mirrored foil. Little focal point right there. Coloring in with some alcohol inks, and you can color the dye-based inks stamped on top of the photograph with no problem. The alcohol inks work really great over the water-based dye ink impressions, and it works great on the photo paper. Following up with some white acrylic paint, using the 3mm acrylic paint pen here in this case. Kind of bringing out some of the the snowy covered rocks and whatnot, and adding some snow shimmer in there. And there you have the formatting right there, just adding the glue, whatever, tape runner, whatever, and formatting it like so. So you get a real 3-dimensional look. Okay, following up with this printable vinyl holographic sticker paper. This one's the starry holographic patterning. Adding in the water-based Brilliance ink into this, okay? And this type of Brilliance ink is water-based, so it sticks right to this printable vinyl with no problem. Making some cloud impressions in blue up at the top. And then I'm stamping my snowy bank down on the lower end of it. I should have held my impressions down longer to allow more of the ink to transfer. I kind of forgot to do that, so I was getting some really light colored impressions here. I try it again, and then I get a really light impression again. I'm thinking, oh no, what is going on with me? So I'm trying this one here in the VersaFine Clair, and that one didn't transfer over. What is going on? So here we go again, holding my stamp down a little bit longer, allowing more of that ink to transfer onto the vinyl, no problem. And then I finally figured out, okay, we need to hold this, impression down, and you can get a real dark impression using your black inks. All right, but no problem. I'm just darkening in my tree trunks here using a colored pencil, and it adhered to it pretty well, so you can see I get a nice, darker impression of the trees, or tree image, I shouldn't say impression. I'm just going in there and adding that darkness back in with the colored pencil, which works on top of the ink impressions, going in with some colored pencil and doing some coloring. Coloring doesn't work directly on the printable vinyl, but it works over the inks that you've made impressions with on the vinyl, okay? Adding some more shadow work using the colored pencil, black colored pencil in this case. It gives the imagery a little bit more kind of depth and volume, going in there with the colored pencils, adding shading, and following suit, giving the scene a little bit more volume, texture, kind of highlighting with the white paint pen. And then going in and adding in some snow on some of the branches of my trees using the smaller 0.7mm acrylic paint pen. See, that kind of brings out the tree, and the trees look a little bit more 3-dimensional with this type of highlighting on here. And since it's a snowy scene, you can use quite a bit of the white paint pen on the trees, and it looks perfectly natural, and it's a perfect little kind of accentuating mark on these winter ash trees. Making the little guy's little jacket a little bit brighter using red acrylic paint pen. And then using my white Brilliance ink to just kind of add a cloudy mist at the base of the trees. And that was that card. Now we're going to try the winter ash trees on the top of a dark piece of blue foil. This is the Recollections foil that you can find in the jewel tone pack at Michael's. Very inexpensive for a 25 pack of foil sheets. They're $6 retail, I think. But they're on sale all the time. It's like buy one, get one half off, so you can pick up the Jewel Tone pack or a couple of them, or any of the Recollections foils, and they're really great value. Okay, so I've added clouds using the Brilliance white ink. I added the Eerie Moon in the background, and this time I'm making some really deep, dark impressions of the winter ash trees. And I held down the stamp on the surface for probably 30 seconds, you know, at least, to allow that ink to transfer and to stick to the surface. I should have done that one with the printable vinyl. The printable vinyl, though, it takes inks a lot faster usually. I don't know why it didn't really take them as easily today, or as fast, you know, as far as the ink transferring and it adhering to that surface. Going with a little quote stamp, and I did splatter paint some snowfall into that scene. Okay, now just going on with some standard cardstock here. This one is a semi-gloss cardstock, a lot closer to matte than glossy though. Adding in layers of blue-toned dye-based inks here for the background. And that's going to provide me a nice background for my winter ash trees stamped in variations of blue. Here comes the snowy bank again, and I'm stamping it in a blue this time instead of black, just to make it look a little bit more kind of recessed into the scene, and I know, kind of illuminated, if that's a word, with you know, colored light, I guess you could say. So right here, I'm stamping my winter ash trees in different values of blue. Here I stamp it in the darker blue, and there's some lighter blue tones making the smaller winter ash tree look farther back in the distance. And I'm stamping the skier and dog in this one again, and I stamped them in a blue to make them look farther back in the scene as well. I didn't really use any black in this scene. I thought, that looks kind of good as is, so I'm not going to use any black, but sometimes I would use black over the top of these colored impressions to create a little bit more depth. I would put them lower in the composition if I did some closer objects to us as a viewer. Splatter painting some snowfall in there, adding in that mist with the white pigment ink at some of the base of the trees, just to make things look a little bit more dimensional, airy, and illuminated in a soft, glowing light. And then you can go in with the acrylic white paint pens. You can use a white gel pen as well, and adding that little shimmer to the snow, as you would see out in nature. 4 scenes using the winter ash trees. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching.